Okay. What were you just telling me about Wacko?
This is a film. Okay, a little bit of the film came out in 1982, and I found it recorded from the TV on a Betamax cassette. I bought a Betamax recorder when I was 16 years old and a box of cassettes, and this was one of the films on it. And I watched it, and I instantly fell in love with it.
Right. We should explain that we do another podcast together, which we just started doing recently, called Saturday Morning Cartoons, and that's where we both met. So we haven't known each other very long, have we?
No, this is the first solo project between the two of us, isn't it?
Kind of. But often what will happen is when we finish recording those podcasts, we go offline and we carry on chatting for a bit. And sometimes those chats can be more entertaining and insightful than what we've just recorded for the previous 90 minutes. And
I'll tell the people that they'll stop watching the show.
Well, just know the best bits we leave out. But a couple of weeks ago, I think it was just the two of us who ended up on the stream. Everyone else had buggered off, and we got into the type of stuff that I talk about on my channel. I sort of mentioned the word cult movies, and instantly your brain went to this film, Wacko, which is, would you say it's your favorite cult movie?
Well, here's the thing. Like,
oh,
damn!
We started so well.
Ask me that question again. My camera got excited.
Is this your favorite cult movie?
Here's the thing. I would say that this is a movie that is a niche cult. That you either know it or you don't. You know, like there are movies like, in this kind of genre, the kind of parody genre, like of course the scary movies, and before them you had Naked Gun, before them you had Airplane. I think whether this deserves to be up there with Airplane or not, I'm not sure, but I think this film is known to quite a few people, but it deserves a lot more attention on it. That's for sure. It deserves to be more known than it really is. Before I picked up that box of Betamax cassettes, I had never heard of it, and I'm glad I actually picked it up because, like I say, I've known this film now for what, like 30 odd years. So, and yeah, and I've been wanted to. You would not believe how many times I've had like a friend around and said, "Oh, hey, there's a movie we got to watch," and this is the kind of movie. Okay, I haven't done that like in a number of years, but this is a kind of movie. There are so many moments in it that, you know, you could walk down the street, just quote the movie, and that person will know instantly what's going on.
In one of our after school talks at the end of Saturday Morning Cartoons, we got onto this film, and because we were talking about cult movies, and you said, had I ever seen this film? I hadn't. I believe I'd recently heard about it, maybe because are you aware of a YouTube cinema critic called the Cinema Snob?
No, not at all.
No, he does this this series of videos, or he's just started, where they're all 4 hours each, where he's going through every trailer from 1980 onwards. Wow. And doing a little critique of either the trailer or the film, because obviously he hasn't seen every film. Right. So he's just done 1982, and 1982. I mean, it was the era of the slasher film.
Yes,
but it also seemed to be the era of the slasher movie parody, because there's at least 2 or 3 others that came out in 1982 alone.
Right.
But this is
one of them.
Sorry?
wasn't Student Bodies one of them, or was that earlier?
I think that might have been one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I was kind of. I went through the video very late at night last night just to to see if I could find his review of Wacko in there, but I ended up falling asleep on the couch. What can I say? The video's 4 hours long.
Yeah, it's not great advertising, is it? Yeah.
So this is okay. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. So this is a film you love. I have to say, I did not like this film. I'm sorry, Rob. I thought.
Comment.
And I won't forgive you now if you suddenly disappear from the broadcast.
Bye.
But yeah, I thought this was utter trash. This film.
Yeah.
Sorry to say. Yeah, for me, there was. I can imagine, having great nostalgia for this film. Maybe if I'd seen it back in the 80s,
right.
Or in the era that it had come out. But watching it as a 42-year-old, watching it in 2022, I could only see it for. Its cheap, crummy look and the many jokes in it that just don't land.
Really?
Not to say that I didn't laugh. I did not laugh whilst watching the film.
Right.
There were a few moments that.
Did you laugh in the right places? Did you laugh in the right places, or did you laugh where you're not probably supposed to laugh? That's the question.
Oh, definitely where I was not supposed to laugh. In fact, one of the lines I wrote down was, where was it then? Oh, well, the first line of the film actually got a laugh out of me. Do you know? You must know the first line of the film.
Hang on.
Death to all teenagers who fuck.
Yeah. So when that came up, I thought, okay, right, maybe we're on safe ground here, because obviously this knows how to send up the slasher movie, because that is basically the central message of every slasher movie. Yeah. I've never seen it put on into words so eloquently before. Okay, this is the line that made me laugh. Just tell the chief what you told me.
Oh God, yeah. Wait. Share my screen. All right.
Oh, okay.
Go through. Yeah. You know what? The whole dialogue, the whole conversation. Yeah, we could act it out if you want. Where's it gone?
Okay, this will be a bit.
So on the little screen with my second screen, if you just click on.
Oh right, sorry. Share your screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's sharing my screen.
Oh no. Where you see me down in the green room area next to me, there's two of me. One with
are you on the pumpkin? Yeah.
Yeah, the pumpkin head. Now I gotta find that on my screen. There we go. Okay, so welcome to the world. Well, let me just go through here. Boom, 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 and there. Whoop. There. Okay. All right then.
Okay, we found the same lines funny at least.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm the detective. You're the oh, hang on. No, I definitely want to be the psychiatrist. Okay, yeah. If you want to play the other parts.
Okay. Just tell the chief what you told me.
I love black women.
No, about the patient who escaped.
Well, the guy was a wacko. They brought him in 13 years ago. His records were destroyed in a fire. All I know is that he saw something horrible and violent and retreated completely into a psyche.
Is he capable of murder?
Well, he's catatonically introverted with undertones of psychotic schizophrenia.
What does that mean?
If you piss him off, run. I love it that you love that. That is like one of my favorite line, and the way it's delivered, it's just brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. appearance by the actor Charles Napier in that scene as the police chief. He's one of those it's him actors. You know, he was in the Blues Brothers. He's in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh right, yes, of course he is.
Jonathan Demme, the director, uses him a lot.
Are we going to go on to the characters or wait until later? Because there are
we can do the characters.
There are a few characters. I mean, obviously, what's his name? John Don Baker and George. I've forgotten his name now. Damn it! I should.
George Kennedy.
George Kennedy, of course. Yeah,
most famous for being Frank Drebin's boss in the Police Academy film. Not the Police Academy, the Naked Gun movies.
Yeah, Naked Gun and Police Squad. Yeah.
Okay, so talk about jokes that would just not fly today. So this guy's, the central joke about this film is that he has erotic fixations on his daughters.
Well, okay, share the screen again. Do you know, in your studio, you can actually show, there's some icons there where you can see like a big screen and two small screens. Those two small screens, that means that we appear next to.
That one?
Yeah. It's not that one, but it's in that area. Yeah, and
that's the one. Yes,
the one. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. All right. That's a joke. Okay, perving on his older daughter, and
that's the important part. The older daughter.
Yeah, the older daughter who gets.
But she's still supposed to be of high school age.
Yeah. Who gets chopped up into hamburger meat by a hype. The whole story for people who are all right. For those of you at home, okay, it's about the Halloween lawnmower killer, a pumpkin-headed lawnmower killer who chops up his victims with a high-powered lawnmower. And the whole film, you could make a drinking game of this film. You could make bingo out of this film. And I've made a list at the end of my presentation of all the things that you could put on that list, like, okay, drink, because it mentions a pumpkin head, or a lawnmower. The lawnmower, the lawnmower appears again and again and again. Somebody throws a message, a stone through a window with a note attached to it. No. In this film, they throw a lawnmower through the window with a note attached to it.
I know the one that would absolutely floor you in this film, if you introduced it into the drinking game, is every time they play the theme tune to Alfred Hitchcock's Presents, which is called, because I watched it with the subtitles on, Funeral March of a Marionette.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
God, that's it must be like 6 or 7 times they play that at certain points.
Well, did you notice the name of the high school?
Yes. Are you going to bring it up here? It's Hitchcock High, isn't it? Alfred Hitchcock High.
And the big football game is between Alfred Hitchcock High and De Palma's Knives.
Yes. Now, but you see, this is an example of a joke where there's so many jokes in here that just don't quite hit the mark for me, because the logic doesn't quite pass through, because Alfred Hitchcock directed a film called The Birds, but I Googled it. Brian De Palma never directed a film called Knives.
No, but he did a lot of slasher films, didn't he?
He did, yes. But for the logic of the joke to work, it has to be an iconic implement or something from an Hitchcock movie, or the name of a De Palma film.
Right. That I don't know. That I don't know.
That's just one of my nitpicks.
Yeah, no, I mean the Alfred Hitchcock, because in one scene you actually see. You remember the Alfred Hitchcock Presents? You would have Alfred Hitchcock's profile against a window,
Yes.
and you see it in one of the films. In Germany, right, we would call this ein Wimmelbild, and I looked for a good translation of that today because I only know it in German. It's like "Where's Wally?" or for some people, "Where's Waldo?" That, you know, yeah, you got to find Waldo, or Wally, but you've also got to find, like, you know, where are all the dogs and this film is exactly like that. You got all these different elements that keep on coming up, and that's what I'm talking about with the drinking game. Anything to do with Hitchcock, drink. Anything to do with every time you hear I'm bound to be screwed up by the terrible images I must carry with me for the rest of my life. There are these different elements, these different catchphrases. It's chock full of different catchphrases.
What you'd call Easter eggs?
Well, I suppose you would. Yeah, I guess there would be an Easter egg. Yeah.
Interestingly, do you know where the term Easter egg comes from?
Well, from the DVDs, you mean, or?
Yes, just in films in general, like some little hidden.
Oh, I read this once. I mean, obviously, you know, there is the game at Easter of hiding eggs so you can go and find them. Yeah.
There is, yes. Well, actually, there's two different thoughts on this. One is that the game, I forgot the name of the game now, but there was a game in which and it's referenced in Ready Player One, sort of an early 80s sort of look down adventure game, where one of the designers had put in a little hidden door somewhere, and if you found that door, you'd go in and you'd find an Easter egg, and you'd crack it open and it would be his signature. But another thought is that in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, they filmed it over Easter, and the cast and crew had an Easter egg hunt, a big one on the set, and they didn't find all the Easter eggs. So there's like 2 or 3 shots in the Rocky Horror Picture Show of Easter eggs in the background, and if you spot them, there's an Easter egg. And so that's where the term Easter egg comes from, as in relation to things to spot in films.
Right.
And I guess the gamer one would be in relation to the DVD hunt for Easter eggs as well.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, like growing up in the UK, I never actually took part in an Easter egg hunt. Did you?
Maybe once or twice.
Okay, yeah, but it's like a big thing.
It's probably more a middle class thing.
Possibly. No, I don't know. No, here in Germany, it's like a big thing. Maybe that's the Catholic influence, you know. So no, I mean we went.
No, Easter for me was always church in the morning and then chocolate afterwards.
Right, yeah, you know. We went and visited friends down near Constance a couple of years ago, and they make a big fuss of it for Easter for their daughter. So she has loads to like look for. You know, we also took part in hiding all these different, like, you know, chocolate eggs and like really mini eggs, not like the Cadbury Cream eggs, but really small eggs. Yeah. So yeah, this whole film is absolutely full of these Easter eggs, absolutely, and
it's full of allusions to the slasher movies of the time. You know, there's allusions in here to Halloween, The Omen, of course.
Yes.
I mean, you just flat out have Damien in this film, played by an actor who looks about 35.
But he's really small, isn't he?
Yeah.
I
mean, the one thing I will say about the film is it's obviously made with people who know and love the slasher genre, and but obviously know and love comedy as well.
Yeah. But also films. So, for example, you've got a reference to Grease there, the flying car. Plus, Tony Schlongini, right?
Tony Schlongini. Okay.
Everyone knows him, just loves him. People are all talking about him. So if you're feeling down or if you're feeling blue, this dude will make you feel super cool. Tony Schlongini, I am respected everywhere. Tony Schlongini, girls just pulling out my hair, etc. Yeah.
That moment got a laugh out of me as well. the West Side Story.
Yeah.
Well, the sort of Amdram version of West Side Story dancing that you get. Tony Schlongini, played by Andrew. Well, he's credited as Andrew Clay in this, but he's more known, I guess, to people in the US now as Andrew Dice Clay. Are you aware of Andrew Dice Clay?
I've heard the name. Yeah,
he's. I mean, he's not terribly well known over here, but basically after Wacko, he's a stand-up comic rather than an actor by trade. This is like an early acting role for him. But he invented, I think he's Jewish in real life, but he invented this character called the Dice Man, who was like a parody of macho Italian Americans. So he'd do impressions of De Niro and Pacino in his act, and John Travolta. But if you watch his act now, he was huge in the 80s. He was like literally the biggest stand-up comic in the 80s. You know, I think he sold out Madison Square Garden like 5 nights on the trot in 1989. You know, he was like a megastar in the 80s in the US. But his act was very much a sort of macho, misogynistic, alpha male Italian American parody now. And then he fell out of favor for a long while because Americans don't really understand irony, and they never really realized that it was a character he was playing, and it was supposed to be it was supposed to be self-deprecating.
Right.
But I think he's had a sort of renaissance in recent years. But no Brits really heard of him, Andrew Dice Clay. But
I've heard from.
I'm sure you'll have heard of him somewhere in the zeitgeist. But but I was surprised to see him crop up in this. I was like, oh, it's Andrew Dice Clay. Before he was this megastar of stand-up comedy,
right?
Playing Tony Schlongini. I mean, this is a film where you just snigger at the character names.
Yeah, for sure.
Every character in this seems to have like one trait, really. His is that he just gets an uncontrollable erection all the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And he's ultra macho, isn't he? He's kind of like, at the beginning, you kind of think he's going to be like the Fonz. As the story progresses, he's actually quite thick. And but he has the leather jacket, the collars turned up, and everyone, all the nerds think he's the coolest guy in school, and he's always trying to get with all the chicks. Yeah, for sure.
If we've seen this character once, we've seen him in a million other US high school movies. Yeah.
Hey, what's my locker number again? Or what's my locker code again? Do you remember the locker code?
Oh, was it 6969?
No, it was 131313, because all the way through this film, that's another of these running gags. The film is just a huge collection of running gags. Is the number 13. And even when they're about to go on the football field, like in a high school game, they say, we haven't won a game in the 13 years I've been a senior.
You see, there are good lines in this film, I was kind of with it for the first half an hour. I was laughing away. My problem with it is it just outstayed its welcome for me. I felt it got maybe I needed to be playing a drinking game, whilst watching this because
if I ever come, if I come to Birmingham at some point, I know you're in Blackburn now, aren't you?
No. I live. Well, I don't live in Birmingham. I live in.
Okay, so if we come to Birmingham, we'll get together and watch Wacko.
Okay. Well, plenty of alcohol is the only way I feel I could give this one a second viewing.
Hey, share my screen again because I want to test your film knowledge. If you recognise somebody.
Okay, so that one. Yeah.
Okay, and then 13th anniversary sale. What? Lawnmower. Of course. Right, it's not a great photo.
There's Longini.
There's Longini, and this guy here. Now,
yes. Where have you seen him before? Oh God, I did look this guy up. He's in Star Trek 3.
It is, yeah, Star Trek 3. Because when I saw Star Trek 3, obviously I saw Star Trek 3 after this. I was like, oh my God, it's him.
Yeah. Pretty much the only acting work he did after this. I think he says he went into directing, but
right.
He's the replacement Captain Kirk, isn't he, in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock?
I believe so. I seem to remember he was working alongside Kirstie Alley.
Well, Kirstie Alley was only in 2.
Was she only in 2? Then it's
but they recast her character, so he could have been working alongside the character that the actress that they recast her parts with.
All right, just seeing that in the background. Game tonight, and then Hitchcock. What are they called?
Hitchcock's Birds versus De Palma's Knives.
Yeah.
A joke I did laugh at until I looked into it way too hard.
Okay, good. Right.
What do you think of the look of this film? Because I was watching this, I was thinking, right, was this a legitimate studio release back in '82? Because it looks kind of cheap and crummy in places. It looks kind of like a trauma film in places, like it was shot on a shoestring budget. I mean, I think that they make a virtue of that fact in some scenes, but the scene where Joe Don Baker wakes up in his crummy apartment and it's just newspaper clippings all over the wall. Yeah, but they haven't even made any attempt to make them look like old haggard newspaper clippings. They're obviously all like fresh off the printer and just sellotape to the wall.
Right. Okay. Oh, that flew by me. But the whole idea of him like waking up, cigarette in his mouth, suit, sleeping in his suit, and obviously the chief of police alludes to that. I said, like, you haven't shaved for a month. Are you sleeping in that suit? And of course he is, because we've seen him like waking up several minutes earlier, and like his whole appearance. And this is very much that character that his name as well. Did you catch his name in the film?
Oh, Joe Don Baker's.
Yeah.
Well, I did, but I'm not good with names. Remind me.
Dick is great for a name, but Harbinger. I know that's exactly what he is. There's a harbinger of ill fortune because I thought
you said Dick Hardboiled.
There you go. That's him in his clown costume because he got the call while going to a fancy dress party at Halloween, and so he doesn't know how to break the news to the parents that their daughter's died. So the mother opens the door and he says, "Trick or treat," which is like, oh, that's so bad taste.
I wondered whether the clown suit was a reference to John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer.
I don't know.
He was a party clown in his spare time.
Was he really?
Yeah. If you look up, is it John Wayne Gacy? Am I getting the right guy? Gacy. Well, I'm just going to quickly look this up. But I don't want to besmirch an innocent man's name.
Right.
but if you Google this series,
Like
yes, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the images that come up straight away. There's some of him in his clown suit, and he looks incredibly scary as a clown, knowing that he murdered like 50 young men as well. Just makes it all the more sinister. But he was like kind of portly fella.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared of clowns. And have you seen American Horror Story, Freak Show? I think it was Freak Show where he was the killer was a clown.
Which season was that? Because I kind of gave up after the second.
Yeah, I'm just going through them again now. I've just rewatched number 1 and I'm in number 2. No, I'm in number 3 now, and I think it was either 4 or 5. Yeah, but that
okay, yeah, no, I didn't make it that far.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that they have the same actors in many of those films, right?
Can you see this guy here?
Oh my god! Oh,
that's John Wayne Gacy.
That's a pretty awful clown suit as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even if you didn't know he was a serial killer, you would be terrified if that guy showed up.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I'm guessing he would have been recently arrested in 1982, so maybe he was in the news.
Oh wow!
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past this film to.
Well, he did mention Mahoney stole. Mahoney. The worst of it was Mahoney stole my costume idea. So he turns up at the murder scene, and the worst of it, it's terrible when teenagers die. But the worst of it was Mahoney there standing in my kangaroo costume. I was upset. I decided to break the news to the parents. Trick or treat.
There's a lot of very attractive young women coming onto quite obscene-looking old men in this film. I mean, that seems like something of the era.
Quite possibly, but like obviously attractive women are like useful in a film of any era, right? I remember, I think her name is Roberta Tovey, the girl who played, oh damn, what's her name? The one who couldn't get a date.
Oh, in Wacko.
Yeah, Dandy.
Where did I? Oh, I had the IMDb page up. No. Oh, but when you know it, I've got the Wikipedia page up here. Bambi?
Bambi, doy. Yeah, Bambi, yeah. In that dance scene where she dances off with the escaped lunatic.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching that as a 16-year-old and thinking, yeah, she'd be fine. Now you can tell she's a dancer.
So, is there any more stills you want to watch? You want to highlight from?
Let's go very quickly through them. All righty.
Okay.
I mean, again, we've alluded to 13 comes up all the time. Lawnmowers come up all the time, and he's even got a lawnmower scrapbook. Do you remember who this is and why? That's all I'll say. Who this is and why, which is great because you see these different characters from a film, and they look like you're in a photo studio. All of them with a high-powered lawnmower. This just makes no sense.
Well, that's Harbinger, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
He was on an undercover job. He does these flashbacks where he says, "I'll tell you what really happened on the night of on the night in question. I was on an undercover job in a vice squad or in a sex salon or something." And you see him like in a dress with his hands above his head, and this dominatrix like whipping him. "Bad sergeant," she cried. And the pain, it was, oh my God, no, sorry. That didn't really happen. Now I'm going to tell you what really happened now.
Again, I feel like I get nostalgic when I see that kind of humor because I feel that's so of its time. Like in the 1980s, I think screenwriters just discovered that S&M existed. So you see, it was suddenly featured in every single comedy
Nobody
of the era.
Was it Count de Sade before then, right? So
Yeah.
that screen that shot of the flying car, which was obviously a reference to Greece. There we got Damien.
Played by an actor who's 35.
Yeah, for sure.
For some reason.
And this guy.
Oh God, this guy.
Oh, this guy. What? I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't want to give too much away, just in case we haven't given everything away, and people would actually like to track down this film and watch it. But Dr. Moreau, I heard he has a wonderful island, and he injects the football team to to help them win the first game in 13 years. Right.
That he does.
Oh, there, of course, is George Kennedy and his daughter shaving her legs.
Yeah. Another running joke about an incestuous parent.
Yeah.
Predatory parent.
Every time he gets caught, and whatever daughter, damn it, Daddy, what are you doing? Nothing. I was mowing the lawn. Sure. That's what you always say.
I mean, they get away with it. It's funny because the daughter has the upper hand. Like the daughters always shout him down, and he instantly recoils. So he's a pervert, but he's a harmless pervert.
The way he gets nothing, darling, nothing, honey, just mowing the lawn. And I'm mowing the lawn. Like, what excuse is that? You're like, and of course,
in the bathroom.
It's all lawnmower related. I included this shot because of Avalon. They had, when I first saw the film, or when I saw the film in the 80s, I thought, I like the sound of the music. There's a high school, there's a Halloween pumpkin prom scene, and that's the band that plays, and they play a few tracks in the movie, also in the closing credits. And I just thought, wow, I like the sound of it. Maybe it's just a nostalgic thing for me because it's from my teenage years. But I definitely think those guys should have had more success than they actually did. I think they brought out a couple of other records, but they weren't huge, let's say.
Yeah, that's Avalon, is it?
Avalon, yeah. And it's a bit of a shame because there were so many different groups with the name Avalon. It's not really an original kind of name. So it's easy to get.
It makes me think of the Brian Ferry hit.
Well, yeah, that's it, yeah. I love this scene. I love this scene because, honey, we've been married 13 years. I'm not even going to tell the joke. I'm not even going to tell the joke because it is so hilarious. But the way they act it out, because you can check, they're actually on the laughing gas. He's a doctor. That's his wife. And they're getting drunk on laughing gas. They got very infectious.
I say the older actors in this, I mean, they don't phone it in, they're there to have fun and they know what they're in. But they pitch the performances just right, There's nobody looking like they're embarrassed to be there, or like they're doing it for the money, but really they're above this, which is a commendable way to appear in this sort of fare.
Absolutely, I can imagine really that they would have had so much fun doing this. Okay, it depends on your sense of humor, of course, but there must have been really so much fun. There were a couple of like wonky moments, like when Harbinger is chasing Looney, the name that they give to the escaped asylum, lunatic asylum inhabitant. I mean, like, what's that? He kind of like dodges left and right and like pushes over an American garbage can. And of course, Harbinger falls over it, and you have the sound of like 10 pins falling.
Yeah.
That's not fantastic. But and the car chase. I think in the 80s you got to have a car chase, whether it was absolutely necessary or not. But mind you, he picks up on the fact that in American high schools they have driver's ed, which of course is something we just don't have in the UK, right? So it's a bit of
well, yeah. I mean, they get the licenses when they're 15. But, I mean, it's just easier to drive in the States.
well, this is it. I mean, like distance is much bigger.
Yeah.
And then
it's an amateurishly directed film. I have to say, and surprisingly, like the director Graydon Clark, this wasn't like a one-shot deal for him. You know, this didn't end his career. I mean, the guy's directed like 30 films.
Yes.
You know, he worked consistently, and this was just one of the ones on his CV. Not many I've heard of, to be perfectly honest. But
there were a couple of that I'd heard of. I checked it out on the IMDb a couple of days ago, and for some reason I can't find that file now that I made. But yeah, he's actually been quite prolific, or he was quite prolific in his time directing, wasn't he? I think he's even done something more recently. 2018, I think, was the last thing he did.
I'm looking on Wikipedia, and his last directing credit was a film called Star Games from 1998, which doesn't even have an article about it. So unless he's done something that isn't listed on Wikipedia, I don't know.
It could be that I'm mixing him up with one of the writers. As you mentioned earlier, there are 3 writers on this, and
there's actually 4 writers, but there's only 3 listed on Wikipedia. But again, the writers all went on to other things. It's one of the writers, Jim Coof. He wrote the film Stakeout with Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez, which is a favorite of mine. One of the writers went on to write The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Dana Olson. And Michael Sproud. I'm just quickly looking through his filmography. He wrote a lot of TV after this, it looks like.
I looked on IMDb for him, and it just mentioned, who he married, and that they met on like something like All in the Family or something, where they played man and wife, and they actually got married, and they concentrated more on that. So I didn't get much information about what it actually worked on.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of the this is really the slasher trope of the heroine. So Stella Stevens here, who plays Mary, who's bound to be screwed up by the terrible images she carries around with her for the rest of her life, and screams every time she hears anything remotely like a lawnmower. She is hunted down by the Halloween lawnmower killer, and she just fights back, knocks him down a couple of times, and this is that scene where she shot him. And she's like, I'm sorry, I never meant to kill anybody. And he's like, and he starts getting up. Damn it, you asshole, why won't you stay dead? So that's the final scene I have there. But what I have are these running gags: the pumpkins, the lawnmowers, the number 13, the lecherous dad. Damn it, Daddy, what are you doing? Mary's screaming, I'm sorry, I'm about to be screwed up out of the terrible images I must carry around with me for the rest of my life. And then Harbinger, he's just like, he's got this really unhealthy lifestyle, and I think we've seen this in a number of films, though I can't really think of anything, where somebody has survived a traumatic event, and they are the harbinger that this will come again. And I think that happens in quite a few. I have a feeling that I have a kind of like vague recollection that kind of happens in certain slasher movies as well.
Yeah, that's a trope.
Yeah, and that's that Harbinger's thing, right?
Yeah.
Then I had everything related to Hitchcock and De Palma. Norman sounded like a lawnmower when aroused, which was this makes no sense, but it's funny because there he is trying to get jiggy with his girlfriend, whose big turn off is, of course, the sound of a high-powered lawnmower. Yeah, and what else do I have?
Mary Overly Coy.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's the high school virgin. She even says, what was it? Not all, she says to Tony Schlongini, not all girls are like his girlfriend Rosie. Not all girls are like that. Look, I'm wearing my panties, and lifts her skirt to show, which makes it even worse for Andrew to play.
So so anybody wanting to play the Wacko drinking game, I'd add Funeral March of a Marionette in there every time aka the Alfred Hitchcock theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time they play that,
yes,
or any allusions to Hitchcock, really.
Yeah.
And you will get absolutely slaughtered watching this film, which if you're going to take my takeaway from it, is the only way to watch the film.
If you like, Kids of Newcomb High was pretty terrible, but I remember laughing a few times. But if you like
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's okay. Next time we'll do that.
Are you a Troma fan?
Am I a what fan?
Troma. They're the production company that made Class of Newcomb High. They also made The Toxic Avenger.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that, and I remember having seen that, but it's a long time ago. Yeah.
The Toxic Avenger was made. I was going to say it was made on a sort of similar budget to Wacko. It probably wasn't. It was probably a lot less. But that was their biggest budgeted film to date, and then everything they made after that was literally, bringing up a friend and to get them to come in to do an acting role, and they made terrible films. They're
well known. This is a thing, isn't it? They're well known. And so many films are out there. They just they fade to obscurity. You never hear of them again. But here we are, 40 years later, talking about Kids of Newcomb High, talking about Toxic Avenger. So they have a following. And another thing about
it's largely down to those two films. I say they really sort of traded off that success for the next 40 years with their output. I tried watching The Toxic Avenger Part 3 recently, and it was just there's Part 3, and then The Toxic Avenger has a cameo in every single film that they made after that, because it's hey, remember this sort of semi-successful little sort of niche bit of cult media that we did once 20 years ago? Remember that? They have to somehow crowbar Toxie in there. So there's lots of offshoots of The Toxic Avenger. I think there might be a part 4. There was actually an animated series of The Toxic Avenger called The Toxic Crusader. Yeah. He was done for children, It was actually on the BBC when I was young, but it was off the back of that I watched the film, and my jaw kind of dropped when I saw the source material. Yeah, but why was I talking about The Toxic Avenger?
Talk about because of the success of the film. Even though it was very much a niche film, it was it's largely obscure, right? But what I say about Wacko, it was the version I have is a DVD, and I'm sure, because I recently a few years ago I sought out a DVD, and the quality is not great, which leads me to believe it's just transferred from VHS to DVD, which is a bit of a shame. But there's a
Oh,
company.
really? Because the version that I watched online
Yes.
didn't look too bad.
Right.
I mean, the film itself looks bad, but the actual transfer of it looked quite pristine.
There is a film.
So it makes me, I can't believe that there is just a VHS transfer out there.
The quality of the one I have on DVD is not great. There is a company called Vinegar Syndrome, and they buy the rights of certain movies and digitize them, but not just from the video cassette or maybe from Betamax, which was much better quality anyway, but from the original film print. So it's quite possibly that the version you found was actually from Vinegar Syndrome, but it's kind of expensive, and they're based in the US, and I think to buy the DVD from them is about $40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we've sold anyone on the film with this little ramble through Rob's fandom of it, then yeah, get out there, pay the $40 if it sounds like your thing. Get the Vinegar Syndrome presentation. It really needs to be seen in all its high def, pristine glory. Yeah. Well, sir, I'm sorry, Rob, that I wasn't as taken with this as you, but I suspect that will be largely the case with a lot of films that you would have grown up loving, and you love from your heart rather than from any sort of analytical place.
Right. Sure.
Maybe if I'd seen this back in the 80s, I'd have much more affection for it.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being something that you discover late night on ITV, maybe at 1 a.m, and it become this little favorite cult movie that's only you know about.
Yeah.
And those are the films that I still genuinely love discovering today. Mm-hmm. And even films that I didn't watch back in the 80s, an 80s high school comedy, because I grew up watching other films of that era and of that type. They still do give me a kind of fuzzy nostalgic feeling when I watch them, even if they're a film I'm totally unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a good place to wrap up. Do you have anything more you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Hit up like and subscribe to this guy. No, hang on. Yeah, to this guy. Yeah.
And yes, and subscribe to. Oh, we're so professional, aren't we? This guy.
I don't have a lot on my channel, but we do have. We put out the bag and bin mostly on Agnes and on Jacobus Gotex. The past few weeks, I actually have hosted the bag and bin a couple of times, so I'll be doing that a little bit more in the future. That's Rob G Price Tunes on YouTube as well, and you good people can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Just Google all that. Yeah. And check out Round and Roll. It's apparently it's pretty good.
It is. It's pretty good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to New York, New Pork. When are we likely to see issue 2?
Well, I've been working on it. I've been not dragging my heels, but I've been otherwise. Got to be honest, I've been resting on my excuses. First of all, I took a bit of time doing the stories for Twisted Fairy Tale. But one thing, since I started hanging out online, basically I put out Rattle and Roll on KDP, on Artif Merrick in the UK, and on Blurb. So you can actually pick it up online. You can actually order it, for example, in the United States through Walmart and what's the other one? Barnes and Noble, and you can actually go pick it up in the store, which is kind of cool. But I mean, you can
Oh,
order
noble.
it online, so it's not like they have loads of it there. You order it online and you walk in and you pick it up on the store. From the
Okay.
store. But
That's the way you should do it, I think.
Well,
Made on demand, you know. In this day and
sure.
age, it's far more environmentally friendly to have
For sure.
products made that way.
Yeah, but then I started hanging out with all these other creators here on Twitter, on YouTube, the Bag and Bin guys and other creators. And because on the Bag and Bin, we use the Bag and Bin not only as a platform to have fun, but also as a platform for other creators to come along and show us what they do. So you know, we have the occasional show where we show off. Okay, tell us about your book. What's it about, and where can you find it? No, and meeting all these people, I'm just like, wow. I mean, like my style is pretty. There are a lot of let's. Why not? Indeed. Okay, so. There you go. It's a big spread. I know. It's a big spread. I know.
It's great.
But, yeah, but like very much with like ink tone washes and
you really capture the atmosphere of late 19th century New York.
Wow, thanks. In fact, the issue 2, because I'm going the Indiegogo route, I'm doing it color, but I'm not doing it full color. It's going to be sepia. It's going to be more sepia with some color. Yeah. So, but my style is very much, it's not very much the superhero style where you've got all these, really sharp lines, which really I could work on a lot more, but it's very much like a brush stroke kind of feeling there. No.
Yeah.
But having said that, meeting all these other creators really kind of made me think, well, I need to up my game. I really need to up my game, which has kind of like sent me into slowdown mode a little bit. But I've been more active in the last few weeks, and I'm now up to I'm just on the what's the word? This is a thing with living abroad. You forget your English. On the no, it's not the right word.
Cusp.
Yeah, cusp. I was thinking knusp is not right. Right, okay, cusp. I'm on the cusp of 50%. I'm 49.3% because I've got a spreadsheet set up.
Okay. Well, just know that this fan is now waiting on tenterhooks for issue 2. Good work. Okay. I'm going to end it there. So thanks for coming on, Rob.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. And everybody out there, thanks for us taking up your time.
Yes, thanks for watching.